Our family calls her Linda, but there's many kids in her class at school that had the same name. She changed her name to Lynn. Yeah. Had to wait for her to grow up. She was doing her student teaching at BYU. She wasn't finished yet. Graduated that year that I met her. She was making a bulletin board. She came down to the art room to see if she could get some materials. Curiously enough, I didn't even call her up that year until the next year when she came back teaching. I remember our first day we went to a movie. She went to sleep in it. She was a great believer in tough love with raising the kids. Like Chuck, our second son, he had gone to school without making his bed, so she called the school and had him send him home. Made his bed, and he had to walk back to school again. Walk home, walk back. He never forgot it again. Yeah, she's great. 54. I was an art specialist for the State Office of Education. Being like a state art supervisor was great. For 29 years. Very rarely does anybody stay in one job anymore. When I was, my dad was gone to California for work, worked in a cannery there. And my older brother and I were both born in California. Then when the Depression came along, Dad lost his job there and decided to come back to Utah. They bought an acre and a half house and an acre and a half of property, acre and a quarter of property for $1,500. But they couldn't afford to make the payments on it, so all they did was pay the taxes on it for several years. So I grew up in what then called Butlerville, was down Cottonwood Heights. Our little ward was about 300 people. Went from Brighton on the east to Fort Union on the west. That was my little ward. About 15 states now. In those days, he did whatever he could find work to do. He worked with the WPA, unloaded freight cars in Murray, walked to work, had no cars, but we walked to Murray from our house, unloaded freight cars all day and then walked home. He raised everything we ate, we raised on that farm, little farm. Had animals, we had cows and sheep, not sheep, but cows and chickens and almost everything. I had one brother and one sister. Sister still is. My brother was killed in an automobile accident, about 6 or 7 years ago. I was crazy about sports. We played baseball and basketball and football. The fields, you go in the pasture, run for a pass, and fall in the manure.
Oh, really?
I remember winter was a really big thing. We'd go sleigh riding on the hills right around near the school. Kids you get down to the bottom of the hill and somebody yelled at the bell would rung, you'd run back up and they'd laugh as it was just a false alarm. But you did things with your friends and neighbors in that day, even in my kids' day. In Nate's day, you'd hardly see them rest all day long. They'd be off with their friends. Now you don't dare let them go anywhere. I think you have a lot more work responsibilities in those days when I was a kid anyway. Oh, you just had to help. Everybody had to pitch in, I sure didn't enjoy it. I hated milking cows. I went to Granite. I was supposed to go to Georgia, but I went to Granite because my mother thought they had a better art program. She wanted me to be involved in that because I seemed to have a knack for that. See, they've torn it all down now. I think that your kids have to be responsible for what they do. Teach them to be responsible for their behavior and a good work ethic. And our kids all have that, thank goodness. I think you have to recognize that you can't change each other. You get used to their deficiencies and unusual qualities, learn to live with it and enjoy it. You never know. I didn't think I would. Well, I think it's something you have to work at it all the time. You never can relax and think everything's going to be all right. A day-to-day thing, I think. Yeah, it's just like you never think. You hear about all kinds of problems people have with drugs and everything else and nowadays, and well, that never happened to me, but it can. It can happen to anybody. So you have to keep working at the things you know are right all the time. My kids, they never asked me for any advice. They ask each other, but they don't ask Lynn or me. They're doing well, so I don't worry about it. I've been doing a lot of volunteer things since I retired. I was at the Church Museum of History and Art. I was a guide there for 14 years. I was on welfare square, was working with the homeless for 3.5 years. I retired in '95. Well, you can't enjoy life if you're not doing something that you care about. Well, I guess the biggest challenge was the surgery. It was kind of devastating because I never experienced that kind of problem before. I've had a healthy, long life until that happened. One of the discs was herniated, and then when they took care of that, it caused another one to herniate another one, and when they took care of that, they fractured one of the discs. So I had a broken back the third time. That's the one that laid me down. And they didn't tell me I had osteoporosis, which contributed to the problem. If I'd known that, I'd have done the rehab a lot differently. After the first surgery, I walked 2 miles 2 weeks after I'd had that surgery. And I wouldn't have done that if I'd known. I'd like to have gone on a lot more trips and things, but I just can't do it anymore. Yeah, we've done a lot of traveling, and I really enjoyed that. I was always glad to be home, but I really enjoyed seeing a lot of interesting places. And Missy and her husband have gone with us, and so have our other kids come on some of the trips. So that's been even better. There's nothing pressing. I just try to get through each day. I think we both worry now about who's going to go first, and we don't want to be alone. Probably my children and my grandchildren, what they've done with their lives, how they've taught their kids the same things we taught them. It's interesting how they complain about their mother and what she did when they were little, and now they're doing the same thing to their own kids. I mean, you can see how you could have done things differently or better, but you can't change that now, so why worry about it?